Okay, sorry about that. Are we back? Are we ready? Well, that's the way to start a video. Anyway, folks, it is I, Badger Wild, and we are back once again with Space Engineers working on the Argotins, trying to make this thing the best little best darn little ship we've got. So, without further ado, let's get started. Uh, Whoops, the stuff's on the video. Anyway, so we've got the Argotins built up. I've got a few things I need to correct. I need to fix this section here. I didn't realize that was messed up. And we need to fill in this area, I suppose, so it will work properly, and then I won't have to worry about anything else. We're gonna have some empty space in this ship, in some space. I think I'm gonna take the grav generator, I'm gonna put it up here, and then wall it into that area, so it'll be harder to see. But yeah, that's about where we're going at the moment. We've got our nice little area opened up in here. We can see all the good stuff. See our little ships. I need to put some connectors in here so I can load myself in a couple of ships. And then it's building some hallways. We need a hallway here. Need a couple of hallway blocks. Let's go ahead and work on that while we're at it. We've got number 6 as a corridor. Let's go ahead and just add this in right here. And booyah, that's done. Now what I want to do is I want to take this out so I can at least see what I'm doing up top. We'll remove. Nope, nope, nope. That's not the right button either. There we go. Okay. Where's our gravity generator? Slap that in here somewhere. I know that. Where's our gravity generator? There it is. Get rid of that there. And then we need to build a roof right in here. How are we going to do that? Let's grab number 9. And we're going to add, yeah, some pipe works here. There's that done. Then let's go ahead and grab our grav generator here. And we're going to keep this room to an extent. I'm just going to probably fill it real fast. Just like that. And then from this corridor here, we might as well just install a nice corridor coming in this way. This. Got a corner here. Got a Mr. T section right there. Well, that kind of leads to nowhere. I'll modify that later. But now this kind of just gives you an area you can go access the gravity generator if you have to. Now let's see. Do we have... Alright, we've got room heading into here. We also have access to the med lab, which is great. We have access to that. This is awesome. Let me see. Am I... Alright, I'm at max. I'm at max. Don't worry, folks. I'm at max. We also have our Jefferies tubes here if we got to get from point to point B. Now let's head down here. I need to fix that. That's going to bug me. It's going to bug me. Wait, where is this going? Ah, this is, I need to fix that too. Let's see, we need to make this room look a little bit better. How are we going to do that? Let's go to 9. Ugh. That'll kind of work. Wait, I have a better idea. We'll do this, this, and I'll fix that with this one here. And I have a solution here, don't you worry. I have a solution, folks. It requires number 5. There's one block. Normally would fit there. At least I would think it would. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that was possible. All right, we'll do this. That'll work better, in my opinion. There we go. And we've actually got room here to add some extra stuff, so it's not too bad. So here, this looks amazing in here. I could actually add some lights and some other crap just to make it look good. Actually, this central area here. Let's go ahead and look at what we got in lights. Let me see, number 8. Actually, let's do this. There. There. And voila, look at that. We'll extend the lights out a little bit. Make them light more of the room. Other than that, it's working out pretty good. Got that. I can add screens, all sorts of stuff. Kind of customize this room out a little bit more. I think up here is going to be fun. Let's check this area out. Guess we can easily get through there. Need a light in here somewhere. I'll start installing. So we got a light here. So once I open up the lights a little bit and make it all look good, that'll be the first priority. Grab all the lights and just expand them. Let's do that. Let's find a light. And let's find all our lights. Lights, 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 lights. Where's my lights? Did I pass them already? Oh, wait, there's some. No. Yeah. Lights there. Lights there. Whole bunch of lights there. I don't know what those are for. Let's keep looking. We've got more. And I believe that's all the lights. So now do that. Let's see how the whole ship is looking. Yeah, all right, we can actually see now. This room's looking reasonable. This room here is looking reasonable. There we go. All right. Things are looking up. Now I need to fix some compromising on one of these levels, I think. I think we're compromised somewhere. Yeah, there we go. I have to figure out how to fix this nonsense. Okay, so I don't need anything right there. Make sure. Yeah, I've already got a block there, so we don't need anything there. We just need a block of some type. Number 9. Actually, let's go 2, and then we'll go number 9. Let's see what I can get out of number 9. What can we get here? What can we get? What can we do? This looks good. And unfortunately, that's not looking good enough. Let's look here. That might actually work to an extent. We'll throw him in there. Two, 3, 5. Look at that. Okay, so that's actually a large bit of the Arc-10s practically done. I mean, we've got about everything figured out. I do need to figure out these corridor sections here and put some stuff in between these areas so that it'll actually fit in and do some crap and do like it's supposed to. Oh, yeah, that's actually turning out really good. All right, let's go down here. Now, if I don't get this done today, we will probably end up doing some fun stuff to this later. All right, let's put our personal lights back on. All right, I need to somehow make this area look better. Let's do some freaking pipe works. Now, where is the wedge shape that I had before? There we go. Put this down there, like so. Huh. Let me think here a minute. Thinking here. Delete that there. Give me some room to work with. There. Number 6 here. So yeah, we'll be able to walk through this. I'm going to do something with these. Don't worry. There'll be something done there. It'll look great. Keep it going. Keep it going. There we go. We've got a unit going that way. Let's go ahead here. Number 9, and we are going to strap one of these big boy blocks right there. That's going to keep a lot of weird stuff from happening. And then I'm going to grab that ramp one more time. There we go. Now this corridor area is kind of open. It's kind of done. We'll do this just so everything kind of flows really nice and good. And I think I'm going to delete that. We're going to add one block there. Number 6. And just do that. And there we go. Now it's kind of flowing a little bit better. Now we're going to add some stuff on this side, so don't worry. I need to go ahead and let's grab a catwalk if I can find it. I know I got one in here. There it is, number 5. I'm going to show you this neat little trick I found. This is an interesting little trick we got going on. One there, one there, one there, There. Now what we do is I'm going to go over here and see if I can find... Okay, I got some storage stuff. So we're going to do 5, number 1. There we go. And we're going to slap this one on either side. Boom. We got 2 stacks of supplies right here. And no. Alright, we've got whole stacks of supplies just sitting right there as you come through. Looks nice. Looks better than it did before. And I'll add like a lounge area up here somewhere so we can lounge around or whatnot. Let's see. Anything else inside the shed that needs to be modified? Needs to be made to look good. I don't think so. We do have this one room that I have no idea what to do with, and I'm thinking about just making this another storage area. I need to know what's going on in the other room down here. Okay, nothing's being built in. I need to... shut that down. Make sure that doesn't go anywhere. So this is just going to be a whole nother area for storage, basically. Seven, we're going to have... There we go. I'm going to have some of that there. And I think number 6, I'm going to... No. Let's do number 7 again. Because that'll give me some storage there. And then I can slap number 6 around the side. We can get some nice storage going on in here. Now, the other thing is I need to get my catwalks back again. Corridor that section off, like so. And then we'll also corridor this section off. Make it look like a lot of this is separated out. Now then, turn the lights. How's it looking here? It's looking good. Looking good. Looking good. Add a light right there. Make this all look amazing. All right, so that's done. And back to the program room. We've got a lot of our programmable blocks at. We've got about 3 of them. Let's go ahead and make this its own little area. Do that, and then oh no, that looks amazing. There we go. Now we've got a caged off area. And then I can also add more storage. Hold on a minute. Number 7. We'll add one of those in there. I don't know what we'll put in down here. I don't think we need anything down this way. Yeah, I don't think we need anything else. Oh, all right. So we got all that working. This room is looking good. A storage container here. We'll maybe do that on the other side. There. Alright, we have a freaking leak somewhere. Where do we have a leak at? Let's go find it. Alright, shut that. Still not giving me what I want. Let's see, maybe the door on the other side is still open. a possibility. Oh boy. That's interesting. I have a leak on the ship. I don't know where it's at. I have a leak finder on here. No, I don't. Not pressurized. What am I missing? What am I missing? What am I missing? Oh, this big door shut. What am I missing here? Why is it not airtight? We're gonna need that airtight mod. Wait a minute. Oh, that's good. I don't understand. Where's the dang leak going? Keep heading upstairs, I guess. Ugh. Oh no. Really? No, that's not the right one. Need a corridor here. There we go. That's done. Let's keep heading on up. See if I've got a leak anywhere on the ship. I may have to download the leak finder mod just to find that stupid leak. 'Cause I bet you there's one there. And I bet you I'm dealing with it right now. Where would it be at? Where would it be? Let's see. All these are here. Okay, all that's good. Okay, I may be missing some blocks somewhere. That may be what's causing the leak issue. Let's get outside and we'll look at the ship from the outside and see if I can find something that's wrong with it. Boy, this room, is it airtight? Should be. Okay, why are we not airtight? Man, we are airtight, but the system just doesn't want to believe it. There. See if that don't help. That seems to be it. I don't see anything else that could cause the problem. Ow. Alright, we're back in the ship. Real quick. Turns green, but nothing happens. Turns yellow, meaning we have a leak somewhere. I just don't know where it's at. I've been looking everywhere. Still can't find it. Wreck. Not good. Y'all can't tell I'm starting to get tired. There we go. Kaihinna, maybe the roof? Suggestion, maybe get the Leak Finder mod or Build Vision mod. Yeah, that's probably what I'm gonna have to do. We'll hop out real quick and I'll load that in. I've got that mod. I just need to load it up. That'll tell me about where the leak actually is. One of the few times I'm gonna do this, use mods on a vanilla build. Just so I can find the stupid leak. Great little mod to have. Let's see, leak finder. Yes, I have way too many of these. Leck, what am I doing? Leak, there we go, yeah. Okay, get that mod in there. Let's go ahead and load that back up. We'll get in and we'll figure out where these leaks are at, and I'll just keep patching stuff until I find out the leaks. That'd be the easiest way to do this. Oh, boy. I'm telling you, I worked way too hard this week. Way too hard. There's the first one. Let's find a leak here somewhere. Check this out. It's one of these. Where are you? Ah, here we go. This is where I will find the leak at. Alright, where's it going? It's going this way. And really, our leak is there. That doesn't seem right. Where's it coming out at? Oh, you're joking. Oh, you're joking. Tell me that's not a turn. Is it a turn? Yeah, that's where my problem's at. Right about there. Good Lord. Is that the same on the other side? Yes, it is. Okay, we'll just have to I didn't realize that was an issue. That should fix it. Yeah, that stopped that from happening. Now, where are you going this time? Yeah. This leak finder mod is so nice. This whole thing may pressurize before it's over with. You never know. I'll send it that way. That way it won't be too much of an issue. And I'm pushing the wrong buttons again. All right, where... Wait, was that it? We have solved all the leaks? Apparently. All right. Hey, the leaks are fixed. I don't think build info or build vision add anything related to parts, so the build could still be considered vanilla. No, it doesn't actually. All Leak Finder does is it just allows you to find the leak. That's it. It helps you track the airflow. I would say that it should be something standard in Space Engineers 1. And if y'all want to go on to Space Engineers Twitter page and just start harassing them about it and saying, hey, Leak Finder needs to be part of the game. So we can find our freaking leaks and be done with it. Let me see what we got. We got number 9 here. We're gonna add a couch. Where's my couch? Hit the wrong one. Add that, and I think I could still. No, I can't get through there. What I can do? Where is the right? I think is what I'm gonna want. And no, that's not it. See, I am looking for do that, or I could just hide that there. It's not gonna affect it that much. That'll be fine. Let's go through here, here. Got a whole lot of space I can do stuff with over here, but we'll mess with that later. Now let's throw that there. And we'll add another couch right here so people can look out, see what's going on. Okay, let's go that next room in here. This room. I'm gonna need to add some interesting stuff. Some kind of cool stuff we got. We got number 3. We've got a lot of really nice console blocks. Let's throw in some console blocks here. Let's make this thing look like a nice little coordination area. Yeah, you walk up here, you're not going to be able, I don't think you're going to be able to see over the top. Yeah, we don't do that. I don't want that. I want a button. I like these buttons because I can see out there and see what's going on. So here we are. Yeah. So other than paint, I'd say we're about done. Because a lot of things are just getting finished. I do need to go down into the hangar bay area and install from there. Let's see. Go to here. Let's see right there. How far did I go here? 4? 1, 2, 4. And add another one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we're not going to be able to go any further. And then what we're going to do is we're going to find a connector here. Now, if I'm correct, the new connectors... Ooh, this is going to be fun. Hmm. Okay, I need to, what's done there? Then I gotta figure out how to, this is gonna require a bit more planning. Hmm. I wonder if those are pipes. Let's look at the pipes. Pipes are fun. Pipes are cool. There we go. We got pipes. I just realized this is not gonna work. Something there. Let's see what happens when I open this area up to. Okay, yeah, I've got the room. I've got the room. Never mind. I got the room. I don't need to worry about that. I've got the room to do this. Sorry if I sound reserved, guys. I've had a fun week. It's not getting any better. Okay, let's go ahead here. This morning I get a phone call from my mom. And she's like, you need to watch your dad today. Because me and him are working the same job. And I'm like, okay, why? She goes, he was out this morning. He was mowing early in the morning just to get some mowing done. Sitting on the road. And effing little Debbie tried to take him out. Now I gotta replace that one, don't I? Yeah, so he was just sitting on the side of the road. He was way off the road. Guy came over the top of a hill with a little Debbie truck and missed. He got blinded by sunlight, according to him, which he wasn't able to see, and then he almost basically killed my dad. Almost killed him. Dad survived a-okay. I didn't have to get that phone call. What happened was he... Oops. Apparently there was a reason I had that there. Okay, let's hop out here and see what I can do to fix all that. And 5. So, anyway, it just kind of hit his mower. He has like one of those zero-turn mowers. Hit the mower. He's fine. Didn't kill him. He's not complaining of any problems yet. I think the Architens is about done, folks. Other than this one side I got to do. And then the next... well, no, we're not done yet. We're not done just yet. but basically he pretty much survived that without a scratch. And the little Debbie guy was actually really nice. He came back and he was like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry. I'll just figure out how much it's going to cost to fix your mower, and I'll fix it for you." So that was very white of him. Do something nice. And like I said, Dad's still okay. That's the one thing you don't. But what gets me is nowadays people just lead with the bad news. And the bad news was, oh, your dad just got involved in a very major vehicle, very major motor vehicle accident. That's what I did on the other side, isn't it? Yeah, it is. But yeah, there wasn't. Everyone decides to lead with the worst possible news they've got. And I'm just looking at them like, all right, whatever. It's difficult having to hear something like that. You freak out a little bit. And I'm going to let people in on a little secret. That right there, the fact that I don't know how much longer I've got with family or anything, is one of the reasons why, even if me and my wife ever get into a fight, I always tell her before the fight's over with, I love you and I hope you're okay. And I hope you make it along, because you don't know how much time you got with people. And they could disappear in an instant. I think my dad said if it were 2 feet over, just 2 mere feet, that guy's tire would have went right over the top of him, and we would be having a whole different conversation. It's like, yeah, I don't need that in my life. I don't need to lose your old dad to a little Debbie cake truck. Just imagine, how am I going to explain that to the kids? You got grandma got run over by a reindeer, and you got grandpa got ran over by little Debbie. That's just, I don't need that kind of drama in my life. Hey, yo, why are you? Okay, now I have a new problem. All right, let's go find out what the frick's going on. Did I leave a door open somewhere? I mean, all that is. Oh, wait. Yeah, there is a door open. There's a door open. There's a frickin' door open right here. Okay, there's a door here. I need to close this up. Where's my doors? Doors, number 3. There we go. There we go. Now everything should be airtight now. Are we airtight again? Heck yeah, we're airtight again. Check that out. Ah, it's just awesome. It's great when things just come together. Renegade Bundy. Yeah, life is fleeting. My little sister just had an iron infusion because her iron levels was at 5%. Dang, dude. Yeah, my wife has health complications. We found out recently. It's not easy. Go to St. Louis, uh, go up there. They still don't know what's wrong with her. All I know is every so often she will get stressed out and start having stroke symptoms. And we get in there and she's not had any stroke, but there has been damage. And she's freaking out. And I freak out. She freaks out. We all freak out. Turn the lights on here. Let's see. We've got all that. What is this? What is this attached to? Oh, that's attached to the one deal. Okay, there we go. Now that's all connected up right there. I can actually fill those units. Let me put some lights in here too. I'll get back on the mirror tool here in a minute. I want to check that other side. Yeah, I've had too many close calls in my life with family to sit there and get mad about a problem and stay mad about it for the rest of my life. It doesn't work. It doesn't help anything. Oh, fun. Oh, yes, turret. Yes, turret. That's what that was. I could entertain y'all with how I met my wife. It's a fun story. I often call her my answered prayer because, dear Lord, I lucked out with her. Let's see, what was I doing? I had just come off a bad relationship. When I say bad relationship, the chick that I was dating decided she wanted to leave me for another guy. And lo and behold, I was working construction. And who does she leave me for? Another guy that was working construction. Said she needed a guy that was going somewhere in life. And she married, or she went and dated another guy that was doing construction. So I let that out. I was obviously pissed. So I was just like sitting at home and not doing anything. My mom was freaking the hell out because she couldn't figure out how she's going to get me to get back in the dating game because I was pretty pissed. No, I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty mad, a little angry at the world. And I remember sitting there praying about everything that was going on, and I said, you know what, God, here's the thing. I have reached a point where I don't care anymore. Not in the fact that I don't care about life or anything else. I've reached a point where I don't care what a chick looks like, which is scary. This is a very scary thing to do. So it honestly, you have to be pretty damn desperate to do it. I wouldn't suggest y'all do it at all. But continuing on, I basically said, you know what, I'm kind of done. I don't. Oh, there's no putting a light in there. Oh, this is interesting right here. Let's shove a corner light here. Oh, I can't put a corner light there. That's interesting. Oh, here, I guess that's what we'll do. Put one here, one down here, and well, I can't put one there. That's gonna weird out the build a little bit. Anyway, I basically got down, prayed about it, and said I really don't care what the chick looks like. I just want a few things. I said I just want her to have a good head on her shoulders. I want her to be, smart about stuff, and I want her to, if I can, have a woman that is good with money. I didn't want her having any kind of financial crap that was going on or cause any financial crap. And I remember getting done praying, and I sat down and I thought, "Wow, you really effed up there because you kind of you opened that net real wide." And yeah, I wanted that net wide, but dear God, it was going to be a wide net. So I just accepted my fate. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to end up with some fat chick. So let's not even fight that. We're not even going to fight that at the moment. I'm just going to accept it and go on and go to church like I always do. And lo and behold, that morning at church, I look over. I see the cruelest joke God could ever play on me. He is sitting in the pew up above me. As this obviously a girl who has the longest, prettiest black hair I had ever seen. And I have a thing for rednecks and women with jet black hair. or not rednecks, redheads and women with jet black hair. Yeah, you don't want to ditch. Yeah. Also, Renegade Bunny here. My parents are still trying to figure out how to get me into the dating game. Dude, I'd say go to a church and just pray and ask God to do it because it worked out pretty good. So anyway, I get over there at the church space, and like I said, this chick is sitting in front, and I didn't think this was a cruel joke at first because I was like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's see. I thought, no, maybe I can talk to this chick, see what she has to say. Maybe things will work out. And lo and behold, I get to talk. I go into the back. We had like a lunch service that day. I hadn't seen this girl yet. I hadn't seen her face yet, and that's pretty important. Okay, you got to look at this woman and talk to her. You got to look at a girl and talk to her for the rest of her life. She might as well look pretty. Okay, I'm just gonna say that to people right now. Might as well look pretty. Feminists will get mad about it, but that's the truth. It's much easier to talk to a chick when she looks good. So I go back there. We go back in the back, and this is when I kind of looked up to the sky and was looking at God like, this is a really, really cruel prank you're pulling right now. I go back in there, and what is in there? This really nice, beautiful, young Filipino woman. And I say that with a bit of irony because a bit of irritation because I had been I had this thing for Filipino chicks for a very long time. And now here one was. Now, mind you, I live in Southeast Missouri. Okay. I live in that little area of spick of land. If you look up Missouri on a map, you'll see this little bitty spick of land. It's almost perfectly square except for the top left corner. But down there at the bottom right corner, there's this little pathetic piece of land that just kind of hangs off, like the whole state is starting to melt and it's starting to ooze off into Arkansas. I lived there. The possibility of running into a Filipino woman was remote. I This wasn't even on my radar. It was something I wanted, but at the same time, there was no fucking way that was going to happen. Okay, I already knew this. I was like, yeah, there's no way this is going to happen. Not going to find some Filipino chick out here because we're not even close to that. Lo and behold, who do I get? I find the one Filipino woman in Southeast Missouri. Oh boy. So me and my wife, we get to talking to each other. I head over there and I'm striking up a conversation because I'm like, yeah, F it. I am going to talk to this chick, whether she likes it or not. And we get to talking. We hit it off, kind of good. But it's not like major. It doesn't go anywhere crazy. And I decide, what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to ask her out sometime. We start going out on a date. Now, mind you, we started dating, and a situation kind of came up where, and let me explain the situation here. We started dating, I was 17. And then I turned 18, and I found out she wasn't even close to my age at that time. I think there was like 4 years difference between the two of us. And so we sat down, and she had a stepdad who was an asshole. It was like, oh boy, there was no getting around him. And so I just realized I could do something here. I'm gonna do it. Um, I am sitting there talking to her one night, and I basically tell her, I'm like, look, we can't do no dating no more, which was heartbreaking. Let me tell you. I said, there's no way we can do this because I know how your stepdad is. And it was her stepdad, and he was a real piece of work. Some of the stuff I could tell, I would tell some stuff on him, but my wife has told me not to say anything because she said somebody will try to find him and kill him. She said, and I don't need that to happen. I was like, yeah, all right. I won't do that. Can't do that. We're not gonna do that nonsense. But anyway, long story short, um, basically told her, yeah, there's no way we can keep doing this anymore because he'd be one of those guys that would call the law with the false claim, and I would one of those one of those false claims that we all no guy wants to be involved in. So I decided, yeah, we're not going to be able to do that. And so I told her, I said, you need to go out and find you a guy, closer to your age, you can get by with and whatnot. And she goes, what happens if I go out there and I don't find a guy? She goes, what about them? I said, you're going to have 4 years before you're even old enough to date, before you're old enough to where he's not going to be able to make that kind of phone call. I mean, he was going for a statutory. I knew he would do that. Not because the reason why was because one of the things that he did was he was using her as a meal ticket, where he was making her pay rent for the house, and that ended up biting him in the ass before it was over with. So me and her, we were like friends. We hang out for about 4 years, and I completely forgot about it. I'd totally given up on us having a relationship. She comes in about 4 years later, walks in the room, or she comes over, and she goes, "Hey." I was like, "Yeah, hey, what?" And she goes, "You want to go on a date?" I was like, "Well, I mean, if you want to go on a date," I was like, "Well, you want a date now?" And she goes, "Yeah." She said, "I'm legal, and I would like to go on a date." She's kind of forward like that. Always loved that about her. She's always been real forward about things of that nature. So I was like, "Yeah, okay, fine." And we ended up hitting it off again. Turned out, yeah, we actually did still like each other a lot, and we ran. One of the situations it was very hard because, and I would tell people right now, uh, you you really have to have that whole "I'll wait for her" nonsense doesn't work very well when you realize some of the crap you have to go through. Um, one of the things I had to go through was she had a situation come up where her parents decided they was going to be dicks and kick her out of the house. And I have a sneaking suspicion after all that happened, when she got kicked out, I think her that was the first, because me and her had been talking, we're still talking. Her stepdad did not like me. Her real dad loved me. Don't know what I can say about that, because I mean it's like I don't know how to feel about her real dad, like just absolutely gushing over me because he's also gay. So that there's kind of some stuff there you gotta think about. You're like, okay. So yeah, uh, I will say this: her mom put a real work over on her real dad. I have a hole up here. I need to fix that. Well, what is that connecting to? I don't see anything that connects to. Hmm. Need to fix that as soon as I can figure out a way to fix it. Let's see. So yeah, that was something that was happening. I think that was his attempt because he realized me and her were still talking, and yeah, kick out the person paying rent. Yeah, so she calls me up. It's pouring rain, and she's wanting me to pick her up. And I told her, I said, I'm not sure that's a good idea because, and oh man, you talk about making a chick mad. I said, I don't think it's a good idea. I said, because if I pick you up, and I was going to go get her. So before y'all sit there and act like I'm an asshole, I was going to go get her. My dad was the one that stopped me. He said, you don't need to go out there. He said, we already know you have problems with her stepdad. You don't need to go out there and get caught in something and him get rid of you. So I'd tell her over a payphone. And oh man, my God, she was mad. Today she would tell you she understands why. She was like, "Yeah, totally understand why I did that. Agrees with it." But in the moment when you're out there by yourself, there's nothing in the world that you can say that will make that situation better. So yeah, that didn't end very well at all that night. She ended up finding a friend's house and staying over there, and been guilt tripping me the entire time. She took great pleasure in that. She was like, "You didn't come get me." She said, I'm going to make you feel bad about that." And I was like, I understand." That was I wanted to go get her, couldn't. We had an ice storm. Let's see. Right before we were going to get married, we had this major ice storm come through Missouri and like knocked out all the power and everything for miles. And while that is also going on, like her parents are just strange at times on some things. I went and picked her up and drove her back to our house. She stayed at our house for the entire time. And basically my dad slept in the doorway with the door shut. So in order for me to get out of the room, I'd have to open the door and bump into him. And she slept downstairs with my mom and my sister. And I remember going and picking her up, and I told her dad, I was like, "Look, y'all can hop in the truck with me, and I will drive y'all." I said, "It'll be a tight fit, but I will drive y'all to the house, and you guys can sit there," because everyone else had electric heat. We had natural gas. This is why I will tell you, having natural gas is really important in certain areas of the world, because if your power goes out, your electric heater doesn't work anymore unless you've got solar panel backup. And if you're dealing with an ice storm like we were dealing with, there were people who had solar panel systems. There were people who had small miniature wind turbines on the tops of their house, completely lost power because the wind turbines got frozen up. The solar panels had a thick layer of ice and then snow. You can't just go out there and chisel off a solar panel; you'll damage it. So I get her back, and over at the house. She stays over there. They wouldn't come to our house at all. He was just, you know, proud mother effer. Didn't want to go in there and do all that. Let's see. I think I can put a grate right up here. Would be a cool idea. Just to add some separation in this room. There we go. That looks good. That looks great. So, long story short, I'm dealing with a lot of things, and first time me and her got, you know, really heavy with a relationship. She was sitting in the car one night. I had this little blue Ford with step sides, and she hopped in there with me one day, and I'm fixing to take her home, and I said something to her, complimented her on her look, trying to be a good gentleman. And she looks over at me, misinterpreted exactly what I said because then she goes, "Oh, I love you too." And I was like, "Oh, I love you too." And she goes, "Damn it." She said, "You mean to tell me I said I love you first?" I was like, "Yep, yep." I actually outweighted her for that. Um, However, before we started dating and everything, before we actually started dating, I horrified my mom. I I I made my mom believe the bloodline was dead on my side because she comes over to a youth thing that we're having at the house, and so bunch of parents and the kids come over. We're having like a bunch of games and snacks and stuff like that. We have a game called Spy Hunter. In Spy Hunter, you do you there's a mode in there called Chicken Hunter where you can hunt chickens. And while I'm in there doing, they're in there playing. I own the game, so I know how to play it. Next thing I know, I hear the guys in there are having a bit of a fit, and I look in, And oxygen lockdown. Is this the one that I use normally? Let's try this one. See how this works. Okay, no. We're going back to the OG. Where's simple doors? Anyway, they're in there playing the game, and what I don't realize and what no one else realizes is my wife also knows how to play games. And she is in there just tearing these guys up. She is tearing these guys up. And they are oh so not happy. They are absolutely not happy. Each guy is coming in there, trying to be a dude, get in there and play the game, try to be that guy because she's the hottest girl in there. Let's see, is that gonna work? It's gonna shut. All right, yeah, we got that shutting. And all the guys are in there wanting to. Younger guys are in there. A couple of them younger than I am are trying to, impress her. They're all trying to impress her. And she's just stomping the crap out of it. Every guy gets up there, she just embarrasses the frick out of his ass. And just makes his life miserable at that point. See, is that gonna open that door or not? Okay, no. All right, we've got a pretty interesting door set up here. Open doors, and I don't have to worry about it. Now I need to put a button system down here. Make these open up. But yeah, so she's just like stomping the crap out of these guys in this chicken hunter game. Basically, what happens? You're driving a spy car, and there'll be like rows and rows, several rows of chickens in some places, and that would cause you'd haul off and hit the chickens, and you would get points for it. So I get ready to go, and my mom comes over and she says, "Hey, it's that one girl that you like to church." And I was like, "Yeah," and she goes, "Why don't you go in there and be nice, play a game with her?" And I said, "I really don't want to. I'm not feeling like playing a game today." And I just wasn't. And my mom goes, "No, you really should go in there, be nice, play a game with her." I'm like, "Okay." And I'm starting to go in there, and my mom goes, "And remember, be a gentleman and let her win." Let me explain something, folks. I do not let people win. If you win, if you beat me at something, it's legitimate. I don't let people win. I go in there and I'm like, I'm already pissed because I'm being forced to do something that I really didn't want to do. And I didn't see the point in doing it the way my mom wanted me to do it. So I get in there, and my wife, future wife, sees me coming. And she's like, "Oh, what, you going to be the next challenger for the guys?" I said, "Yeah, my mom told me to come in here and beat you." And she thought I was joking. We got in there, and mind you, she's been stomping these guys. It's not like a complete and total trouncing. She's just beating them steadily, consistently, just whooping ass. I get in there, and the first moment we take off, she takes off just flying. I activate the railgun, and I just smoked her ass. And then for the most of the game, she is trying to move, and I'm just driving in circles, just blowing her up. She's not even getting off the starting line. She's getting madder and madder and madder and more pissed and more angry. And finally, at this point, I'm not trying to get a girlfriend. I'm just sitting here like, okay, we're starting dominance. I'm going to show these guys how it's done, embarrass the crap out of them so they understand what's expected of them later on. Finally, the timer almost runs out. I know how fast I can get through the map. I tear through the map and she doesn't even finish. I get done. I set the controller down. I said, "This was a good game." Got up, walked off back into the kitchen. Here comes my mom. Oh, my mom is mad. Oh, my mom is pissed. She comes in there. "How dare you do that, son? Why didn't you just let her win? You're trying to get another date. Do you not want to date another girl or something?" And I said, "No, mom, I do want to date another girl. It's just I'm in the middle of explaining the reasoning. In walks my wife, future wife, walks in. And she walks in there and she's got that whole look where she's got You know how women get when they got the mouth closed, but their tongue's moving around their teeth. You know, I just like really pissed off. She walks in, she goes, "You didn't let me win." And I said, "Yeah, you're right. I didn't let you win." I said, "Is that what you come in here to talk to me about?" And she goes, "No, the guys let me win." I said, and this is what ultimately won her over with me. I said, "Yes, those guys did let you win because they're lying to you." She goes, "What?" I said, "They're lying to you about how good you are, and they are not being honest." I said, "And I'm being honest with you. You suck at that game." And I can see my mom behind her. My mom is just about to faint. I'm looking at this girl in the face, and she looks at me for a few minutes, and she goes, "You know what? My step granddad doesn't let me win either." I said, "Oh, really?" This is not her stepdad, her step granddad, because her grandmother's dad, actually, her grandmother's husband, sorry, there's an Alabama joke gonna come across the deal here in a minute because I misspoke. But anyway, her grandmother, her husband was a Vietnam vet, died of Agent Orange, and she up and married another Vietnam vet who's an Italian from California, really really great guy. And she said he doesn't, my step granddad doesn't let me win at games either. I said, "Oh." I said, "Well, he's an honest man too, apparently." She looked at me and she goes, "You think real fast on your feet, don't you?" I said, I'm I'm better than average, you know." Bundy will love that Dundee reference right there. Like, yeah, that was my response. Better than average. Running that one up. So, then, she kind of laughed at that joke, and then later on we were talking. I asked if she wanted to go out sometime. She was like, "Yeah, sure." And then all the way up to the point where all that's over with, all the way up to the point where we're now. Um, I had just gotten done. We had been dating pretty heavily, and she had went to buy her some clothes. We had come back, and when I come back in, her stepdad came out and just laid into her. And I mean, ruthlessly laid into her. Sorry, folks, I'm trying something here. And it wasn't even the, "Oh, hey, we're gonna be," it wasn't even just a regular griping. It was just one of those, "I'm gonna chew you out because I'm gonna show my butt" kind of things. And he jumped all over her for leaving with the spare key because he lost his spare key. Oh no, that was the yeah, that was the time he lost his shit with her. We're adding some bathrooms down here. It's gonna be really far on the ship. I mean, the ship is really long. We're gonna have to run from point A to point B. It's practically a tiny star destroyer. But yeah, so all that happened, and she sends me. I don't know this is happening at this particular moment. I'm completely oblivious to it. She then calls me up and says, "Hey, my mom and dad just kicked me back out again." And I was like, "I'm sorry, they did what?" She said, "They've kicked me out for the second time." Yes, it was. It was the second time. She said, I don't know what to do." She said, and I said, "Well, why'd they kick you out?" And at first it was over the key. And then he decides to tell her, and mind you, at this point in time, me and her are about to get married. And she's just over at her mom and dad's, just the last couple of days she's going to spend with them. And I go, "Well, what do you mean they're kicking you out?" I said, "What happened?" And she said, it got onto the key. And then her stepdad started griping and complaining at her about he was going to need some more money. Mind you, she's paying rent. And the conversation goes, I need more money. She goes, I just paid you money. I paid you rent for the month. And he turns around and says, well, yes, but I blew it all on the computer and I need money for groceries. That seems like a personal problem. And she said, well, I don't have the money to pay you double rent this month and cover all the groceries and everything. And he goes, well, you've got all that money you're saving for your wedding. Just give me some of that. And she said no. And when she said no, yep, they took her clothes, throwed them outside. Her mom throwed her a $20 bill, kicked her out of the house. She calls me up sobbing, and I said, well, I said, this is your stepdad's biggest mistake. She goes, why? I said, you're legal. You're over 18. I am coming to pick your butt up, and you're coming home with me. She goes, I am. I said, yeah. I said, and you could stay at my house as long as you want. I just called mom and dad up, told them what was happening. I said, I'm going to get her. I said, it's not right what they're doing, and she's going to stay over here with me. And I was still at mom and dad's house, and we lived with my mom and dad for a little bit. There's a caveat there. While we were living there, I was in the process of remodeling a duplex. And my dad was like, there's no point in you guys going off and trying to get a house while you're trying to get this duplex, because I owned that duplex at the time. I was half owners in it with another guy. And I just decided, I'll fix up my end and I'll just live in it. And we got over there and I was, fixing that up. So me and my wife, we ended up living with my parents for about 6 months. Okay, not a bad thing if you're heading somewhere in life and your parents will let you like chill out at their house and let yourself get on your feet. Great thing to do. If you're in your mom's basement, you can't find a way out. By all means, get a job and start looking for some way to get out of that area if you can. So while I'm doing all this, her grandmother comes down and ooh, her grandmother was pissed when that had happened because her granddaughter was now almost put on the street. And there were moments where her they realized then after she got kicked out at some point, her mom and dad realized, oh crap, we probably are gonna need this chick later. We should probably try to make amends. That wasn't happening. That wasn't happening at all. Uh, there were some there were some things afterward. Like I said, there were some things going on with that just never came back. She was like, nope, 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 never going back to that, never doing that again. So there was actually a moment where my sister and my wife's grandmother were sitting there, and my wife gets a phone call, and she's starting to cry. She is talking, and her grandmother is just sitting over there, purse-lipped, watching what's going on. And my sister finally figures out what she's thinking, and she looks over at my future grandmother and says, my brother has never talked to her like that. I don't think that's him. And she goes, oh, walks over there, snatches the phone away from my wife, holds it up, and she's listening. And in about a few minutes, she calls my mother in law out by name and tells her, you don't need to be talking to your daughter like that with all the crap that you and your husband have now pulled, and then hung the phone up on him. So that little nonsense all stopped right there. And things got better from that point. Uh, we got married, and like I said, I've got a kid. I have watched that kid grow up. We have grown up. That kid has grown up with Pokemon video games. She has played almost every video game that I played when I was a kid. We've had all the same interest. Every so often, me and the kid will sit down and play Pokemon or something. We've got a couple of miniatures games that we play. I started doing YouTube mostly because it was at my wife's discretion to a bit because she said I needed to do something creative with my life because doing construction is not something I like to do. It's something I do because I have to do it. And she told me, she said, she said, you're gonna end up killing yourself if you keep working big for money. She said, you need to do something that's creative. That's why we're here today. Was over that. And yeah, that's me and the missus whole deal. Also, her grandmother told me as long as I bring her down to Florida, I have free room and board out there near Panama City. So go figure. Um, so I get to go to Mexico every about 4 times a year. I get to. It started out as like 1 time a year, and slowly but surely we built up to being able to go down there 4 times a year. You know, family's health gets difficult, and by doing that, they need a little help every so often. So we go down there, help them out, do a few things for them around the house, and make life easier. And yeah, like I said, it's kind of one of those things where you don't know where life's going to go. You never do. You don't know. And I'll say this: God has a tendency of answering prayers in ways you were not expecting. He gives you what you need. Apparently, what I needed was a 5'4" smoking hot Filipino woman with a fiery tongue and enough gumption to stand up to just about everyone. I really lucked out with a woman like that because, dear Lord, she will probably see this later and get on to me about saying this, but if I am mistreated by my own family, that woman's about to go cut someone, which is kind of weird. I haven't had anyone jump to my defense over things. Usually, when I was younger, I had to deal with it myself. So having someone who will jump up there and say, "You don't need to be treated like this because you're a much better person than this," is kind of new to me. It's been new to me for a very long time. Mostly, I got picked on when I was in school because I was the nerd. Anyway, I'm sitting here rambling about my life, probably depressing everyone in the process, but eh, need to fix that. That don't need to be there like that. Let's see. Let's grab us some. But yeah, that was like I said, that's how me and the missus met. And I've never regretted a single day of it. It's also another reason why I always tell her, and I told my kid this one time. My kid always asks me, she's like, "You and mom get into fights every so often." Everyone does. We all fight. It's a normal thing if you get into an argument in a relationship. What happen the thing that fixes a relationship is how you get through it. Okay? You can sit there and bring up every little past detail, you will get nowhere. If you stop and take a moment to try and actually get out of the relationship. This is another thing also, because like my mom and dad, they're good people, but they don't know. I'll put it like this. There are things about what happened to my mom and dad when they were younger does not excuse them for a lot of the things that they have said and done to each other. They love each other to death, but they ended up going through some serious hell when they were younger. Um, I may talk about that sometime when I can talk about it without losing my shit, because there's some really rough things that go on there, and I've got to look and see how I can talk about, because it's some really heavy stuff, and it also involves some topics that YouTube has some serious difficulty with. But because of that, um, they had to do a lot of growing up on their own to an extent, and so they didn't have very good conflict resolution going on. There's another thing about my wife that I love is I had the same conflict resolution that they had, because, learn trauma. Vicious circle going on. My wife was like, "Man, we're breaking this circle." And we got into a fight, one of our first fights, our first big arguments. And I argued it like my mom or my dad would do it, which is hard, brutal, lots of screaming. And in about 5 minutes of that shit, and finally she looks at me and completely knocked me out. Like, not like hit me. She completely knocked me out of the argument, like took the wind out and everything. She stops, looks me dead in the face, and says, "I'm not arguing with you. I'm not talking to you, and I'm not discussing anything if you're going to yell at me." Turned around and just looked out the window of the car while we're going down the road. And I'm just looking at her, And I don't know what to do at this point because I'm like, this is not supposed to happen. Usually we're supposed to like yell and scream at each other. Some things will get thrown around, and then conflict resolution later. We wait for the next blow up. This wasn't happening. I was in uncharted territory. I didn't know what to do. So after a couple of minutes driving around, going home, sitting down, having the hard conversations in your mind, come back in there and I said, look, I said, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to resolve a conflict without losing it, but I'll try. And worked through and learned a much better way of handling a situation than the way my parents did. I love my parents to death. They have sacrificed a lot of things for us to be able to do things. I'm not knocking them at all. It's just if I ever tell the story about the year I was born, it's amazing to me that my mom didn't lose her mind and just drown me. Not because I had done anything wrong, but because outside forces were so bad. I look at that and think it's amazing my mom didn't just lose her mind and think I was the reason she was going through all the hell she was going through and just didn't try to snuff me out as a baby. I mean, that's a pretty good mom. And if I can figure out a way to talk about that without violating TOS, which is very difficult because it hits almost every single subject of TOS that you're not supposed to talk about except for like the LGBT stuff. That's about it. That's the only thing it doesn't hit negatively. Um, I will talk to y'all about that, but like I said, that's one of them things. But like I said, I've learned better conflict resolution over things. Me and my wife, we don't get into yelling matches. We get into arguments, which is more along the lines of like discussions. She will get mad at me. I will get mad at her because nobody likes to lose an argument. Okay, that's the only reason we're getting mad. But my daughter was talking to me the other day, and she goes, "Dad, you every time you and your mom get into it, you always end the doesn't matter how bad, doesn't matter how intense the conversation, you always end it with 'I love you,' and I hope that you'll be safe today." Or I end it with something else. And I told my kid, I was like, look, I've lived long enough and seen enough hardship to recognize that people go sometimes. And you will be in that situation where everybody will just, one minute they're there, the next minute they're gone. And I've had friends die, I've had family die, I've had people I would talk to one minute, find out later that they gave up on life and they were gone. And I sat there and struggled with that. I've got a friend of mine that did that. I still to this day struggle with whether or not I could have said something that may have changed the difference. And every time I think about it, I end up reaching the same conclusion. I am not a mind reader. He did not give me any clues, and he even told me he was fine and said not to worry about him, that he would be okay, and even promised to see me again the next day. And the next day, I found out he was gone. Nothing I could have done about that. Every so often, my mind goes back to that and several events. Like I could have done something different, and it doesn't. It's not going to happen. I know it won't, but the mind likes to play with you, and you got to learn to ration it out and convince your own mind. Yeah, there was nothing we could have done. Picks up problems that it shouldn't pick up, and that's one of the reasons why I do that because I told my daughter the other day. I said, look, I said, yeah, it would be my luck that something horrible will happen. I won't be here anymore. And the last words that I will tell my wife and my kid are going to be the last words that I give. Just like with my dad. My dad, today, my mom looked outside. She saw him out there mowing next to the road, saw him stop the mower. He was looking at his phone. He was nowhere. He was several feet off the road. He wasn't even close to it. Plenty of room. And my mom thought I should probably go out there and, tell him to come inside. And she said, I thought, no, I don't need to do that. I'll just leave him. He can take care of the yard himself. And turned, went inside, and then heard the mower stop working. And did not know anything was wrong until my dad walked inside, visibly shaken because, yeah, he had just had a kiss. Basically, the Grim Reaper tried to truck a piece my dad, and God walked down there and chin checked the Grim Reaper. So you you would be a little freaked out on your own as well. That nonsense had happened. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why. And I would tell all y'all that too. If that's the one advice I can give you, just every so often in the back of your mind, no matter how good life is, no matter how bad life is, just remember, uh, you're not guaranteed tomorrow. No one is. Uh, you can either take yourself out or something will take you out. And when I say something, you could take yourself out, you can make a dumb decision that could spiral into serious stupidity. Just you end up in a situation, you could make a wrong turn. That's it. That's what'll happen. And yeah, if I were to say something, I would say every time anyone that's important, anyone that you think about, just do tell them that they're important, because if those are your last words, they might as well be something good. Give them words that'll make them go on. Give them words that'll keep fighting when you're after you left. And as far as any of y'all that are probably giving up on life, let me tell you something. I've been through some rough shit. Okay, some of y'all, you wouldn't believe some of the crap I have going on in my life. All right, I have nearly killed myself fighting Mother Nature. I have had to point a gun at someone multiple times and been in a situation where they're reaching, I'm drawing, and and I've taken that consideration of, yep, this is going to be the last day on Earth. Never happens. I still end up somehow living through that shit. I have, and there are things that I have avoided talking about because some of them are so off the fucking wall that y'all would think I'm making them up just to sound cool. I'm not joking. Uh, and it's real shit, and it's fucking terrifying sometimes. Uh, and I'm talking some shit where I'm carrying a lot of ammunition with me on the job a lot of times dealing with some people. Not people on the job, just things that have happened that are outside my control that for some reason came back and bit me in the ass. I can tell y'all something right now. You can do everything right and you will still get hit by something. It's just a matter of time. But like I said, if you got family, if you got friends, people you care about, always ask yourself in the back of the mind, did I say the right thing today? Or should I say something else? And if you're far away from them, just pick up the phone and talk to them. And like I said, for those of y'all that are going through hard times and wondering if life's worth it, let me tell you something. Every time I have gone through something bad, it has usually been to toughen me up for something really good I'm going to get. Pastor friend of mine one time, who's an old Vietnam, who's an old war, actually no, old World War II vet. He watched the bomb drop on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and he said a lot of times God will put you through tough times because he's about to lay on you a blessing that requires a lot of responsibility and appreciation. Which means if you get through the hard times, that's usually because you're about to be given control of something that is very precious and very dear, and you're going to have a certain degree of discipline and responsibility, and those hard times will give you that discipline and responsibility. You'll be able to deal with it. For instance, uh, like talking about my wife, I went through a lot of bad girlfriends before I realized what I needed in life in a woman. When I realized that, then the woman I was going to spend the rest of my life with showed up. Same thing with a lot of other stuff. Uh, like I said, some things I can't talk about, but I don't know how to talk about them without violating TOS. That's the that's the thing. I don't know how to do it. Some of that stuff y'all wouldn't even believe it. I think Ayo Chris, he knows some of it because me and him talked about it a lot. He's Pero Cristo on Twitch, so go check him out. But he knows about some of the more fantastic stuff, and I say y'all wouldn't believe it because it took him a while to believe it was happening. I had to show him some stuff in live. Like me and him know each other. Uh, we kind of know what each other look like. We've actually talked to each other over FaceTime. I think face to face at one point. But me and him were talking about it, and I think he actually had to see the court case in order to. Yes, there's a court case. I'm not involved. I am not there. Trust me, I'm not involved in the court case at all. Someone else is, and he had to look that up in order to believe how crazy that went. Yeah, just weird stuff that happens. Let's see what we got going on here. So I've been talking about heavy stuff tonight. Renegade Bundy, nah, it's fine. Sea Badger, I'm 25 and I've always been single, and tomorrow I'm going out to look at UDs to buy for my first car. Okay, UTs. Is that an Aussie thing or is that a misspelling? I don't know. The joys the joys of the confusion of seeing different cultures. It's wild. But yeah, like I said, it's just those weird, dumb things that happen in life. You're gonna run into a lot of those. Udi is a car type. Ah, okay. So it is an Aussie thing. Um, yeah, the whole, like I said, there's a lot of things that go on. And I also tell people a lot of times you gotta look at the book of Job. In Job, the entire reasoning that he goes through all the crap he goes through is because the devil basically challenges God, and God goes, "Okay, bet." And the funny thing about Job, the Toyota Hilux which is a UD. Okay. I get you. I get you now. I get you now. But the thing about Job that people don't realize is Job doesn't understand what's happened to him. He thinks he's gone through a whole bit of bad luck and all this nonsense, and he loses about everything in his entire life. The interesting part about it is, at the end of it, he's asking God why. He never curses God because that's what the devil's bet is. The devil basically comes in, and the only thing he wants to go to, he sets the bar very low, and he tells God, he says, "Look, Job is a good servant. You protect him, but if he's not protected, then he's going to curse you." And that's all he had to do was get him to curse him. And despite everything that Job went through, losing all of his kids, losing all the wealth he had, being made a pauper, he doesn't curse God. But at the same time, in that particular story, Job is never told by God the reason. The reason God gives him is when he asks God, he says, "Why?" He says, "I understand that there's a reason. I just want to know why." And God says, basically, "For my glory." Job never understands where he's at. He doesn't ever find out what's going on. He probably doesn't know what's going on until he gets to heaven. Through the rest of his life, he never understands. He understands it's for God's glory, but he doesn't understand what that glory was. And the glory of it was to be recognized as an example of what to do in hard times. Don't blame anyone else. You just get through them. That's the best thing you can do as a human being, get through hard times. And that's what he does. He does it perfectly. But he's never told that's the point because Job is also one of those very rare people that we have been reading about for tens of thousands of years since that happened. I mean, imagine you being a person that you go through a hard time in life and you handle it so well that God says people are going to read about this as the example of what they're supposed to do till the end of fucking time. Job never figures this out. He never learns this until probably on his death does he start learning it from other people. I say that because in terms of how heaven works, he's finding out things from people in the future who are coming in, telling him about all the stuff that's happening, and probably told him, "Hey, do you know you were in the Bible?" I was. What for? You know all the crap you went through. Like I'll tell you one thing: people talk about how bad it is. Whatever you're going through, you cannot be going through as much as Job did. Like I said, not only did he handle it well, he went through a hell of a lot more than a lot of people do. I mean, the one thing God told Satan not to do to him was take his life. That was it. I mean, there's also a joke somewhere where a guy, where the devil's talking, and one of his demons looks over and says, "You went after Job?" He goes, "Yeah, I did. I finally got permission to do that." And the demon goes, "You took everything from him?" "Yeah, I did. I even covered him in boils." I said, "Well, you missed one because his wife is still sitting there." And the devil looks over and goes, "Ha, I know." It's not going to remove the horrible people in your life. You're going to have to deal with them. That's why evil people usually live longer. It's not spite. It's because they're being used by somebody. But yeah, that's the gist of that. I'll give you that's enough esoteric wisdom for y'all today. But yeah, let's see. I've got this going. Look out this window. You can kind of see how the ship works. We've got this area back here. We've got this window and see more of the ship, which is nice. I think I've also got a several refineries actually. I've got one large refinery, I believe, and several smaller refineries, or a smaller refinery somewhere on the ship. We've got this nice little bridge up here. Let's go ahead while I'm looking here. I'm going to put some stuff in. Oh, I've got a lot of stuff. I need to figure out how to reevaluate. Let's see, thrusters. Ah, I already have thrusters set up. There we go. I was looking at that thinking, oh boy, I wonder if thrusters are set up. Hey, guess what? They are. All right, that works out pretty good. Also from Renegade Bunny. Also, Ute is one syllable. Ute. Okay. Well, benefits of living with an English major for most of my life. I know how to say a lot of that stuff when they say one syllable. All right, I got you. Let's see. Is there anything else I need to mess with here? I think I need to turn anything else off and on. Maybe power. Where would that come from? I do need to get these oxygen tanks. Where are the... Actually, no. Where's the hydrogen tanks? I need to take the hydrogen tanks here. H, H, H. Or L. Maybe? There's large. I should have large hydrogen tanks in here somewhere. Where'd they go? Let's see. There we go. They're just hydrogen tank. Never mind. Fuel tanks. Need those. Yeah, we're gonna be doing some boring stuff for a little bit. What was I saying before? Is short for Utyrannus. Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay. I'm starting to get this here. I'm not so crude that I can't learn things. Ah, yeah. Like I said, there's a lot of things you deal with in life. Life is life. I think there was a comedian one time saying, uh, that's exactly how you describe it. He said, "Life is life." He said, "You are going to, life is a boss to put up with. It's it's coming home work late from work and hurting. It's an IRS audit. It is life. Okay, you're gonna have a lot. If you got a lot of things going on in your life, guess what? You've got an abundant life. You got some fun stuff happening. Enjoy it. Oh, I got these conveyor sorters. What if I got them sorting? Let's see. Can I just grab all those? Drain all on. I'm gonna have to do this one at a time. Whitelist. Uh, that was actually pretty easy, so it's right there. That's good. Just have to do this with each one of them. Drain all on. Whitelist. Assault cannon. And that bad boy. Gotta whitelist all this stuff here. Let's see. Assault cannon shell. Tell me I'm only about not even halfway through this yet. Oh boy. Now we're halfway through it. But yeah, you're the idea of an easy life. If you're living an easy life, you're not living at all. I'm sorry. That's There are things you're just not gonna get through. There's things that you're not gonna like, but ultimately, if you can survive them, you'll be a much better person. And I always remember when it comes to the people that are important in your life, always remember this: when those people that you depend on, when they eventually go, it's because you don't need them anymore. That's what my wife's grandmother always tells me. She reminds me of my grandma on my mom's side. I've only seen pictures of her, and looks like her. From what I've heard from stories, she acts like her too. And she always tells me and my wife always tells her, she says, you can't go. You know, kind of joking around. She's like, you can't go because I'm gonna need you. And she always stops and looks at her and she says, when you don't need me anymore, I will be going whether you want me to or not. Bothers my wife to death. she she does not like that conversation. And she will tell you she doesn't like that conversation. Oh boy, how am I going to figure out all of this? Let's just look here. Go into one controller. I'll put this up here so I can see it. Left, rear. Ah, okay, there we go. We'll do this. Bottom left rear turret controller. And then I can just start putting this stuff in. But yeah, it drives my wife nuts. She loves her grandmother. Oops, that was wrong. There's not a lot you can I can really say to her that get that to land any easier. She don't want them to go. And truth be told, I don't want them to go either. We never want that to happen, but it will. We don't have a choice in the matter. Oh God, what did I just do? Seriously? Well, that was nice. Where is the controller block? Let's go. Yeah, there we are. There we are, right here. Okay, I've got that. Right. So one of these here. I think it was left. I want to say custom track controller there. Where's that one? Where did it go? Oh, wait, B. I guess that didn't take. Let's see if we can find those again. Custom turret controller. And let's look here. And yeah, like I said, just try to be as nice to the people in your life as you can, because you, like I said, you don't know what's going to happen in life. Things change. Things get stupid. What is this? Okay. Okay. That one's done. Let's see. What is this one? Right here we got. This is fun right here. Having to label everything so I can control all the turrets at one time. So I can turn them. I got to put them into a group too. Let's see, what time is it? Oh, it's 1:40 in the morning where I'm at. Oh boy. I guess I will continue this later. We'll just give you all a nice looking view of the ARC-10s while I pop off some guns here. That thing sounds wicked at a distance. Let me see through here. There's a new dinosaur. My dino loving brain. Hey, we all love dinosaurs. I don't know who doesn't like dinosaurs. People are weird if they don't like dinosaurs. My God. My life is boring as F. It's probably interesting in some ways. I just keep my head up and march on. That's about all you can do, Bundy. That's all you can do on that. See, I don't believe in God, but I don't discount it as well. Everyone needs something to believe in to help them keep going. Yeah, and there's actually a passage of scripture. A lot of people I've had people get on to me about having a belief, and I usually take them to that point. They're like, they want to come up with this thing of forcing people onto religion. I'm like, no. The Bible actually says there's actually a part in there. I believe it's God Himself talking, saying, "Be hot or be cold, or I shall spew thee from my mouth if you're lukewarm." And what that means is God saying, you're either going to be warm next to me or you're going to be cold far away from me. I don't want you in between. You're either going to serve me or be in the world. And then he continues that verse, I believe, going forward, saying, do not, I think to the effect of, don't persecute the people who choose the world, because that's the reward that they're going to get. And the Christian's reward is heaven, and the earthly man's reward is the earth. Basically saying, hey, this life's all they're going to get, so just let them go. That's actually how God goes on this nonsense. He does not want he's not going to send people in there to force you to do anything. He basically wants people who are going to be there because they want to be there, not because they feel like they have to be. So if you feel like you have to be there, then No, you probably shouldn't be there. But if you want to be there, yeah, be there. That's what you should be doing. Let's see. Keep going. Yeah, the day I was born, I almost didn't get to meet my dad. Thankfully, he pulled through and is still kicking nowadays. Yeah, poor bugger didn't have enough calcium in his system, causing his muscles to almost crush him to death. Jeez, wow, that's a wild way. So, for everyone that hasn't had a checkup to take a look at their mineral levels, I recommend doing so. Yeah, I usually drink about as much milk as I can. I'm probably going to drink more if I can after hearing that. I don't like the idea of crushing everything. Man, my wife would freak if that happens. And I can hear her now. I told you you should have been eating healthier. Yes, yes, dear. Yes, dear. Anyway, yeah, I think that's going to be it for tonight. We've gotten a lot more done. I think the Harkitens is basically finished. It's just small programming stuff that has to be done and then coloring it. I need to figure out what kind of color scheme I want to give this. Um, but yeah, I'll get this done and I'll put this up on the workshop at some point. I also need to put the I think I've got it on here already. Let me check. Apparently I don't. Do I not have this, Peb? I know I've got this on here. Look through here. I know the mammoth's on here. It's probably not registered as the mammoth. Look through here. I'm pretty sure it's here somewhere. Come now. I I know I saved that thing. If not, I've still got the world it's in. Now. Is it here? No, it's not. Oh, whoa, wait a minute. Apparently the system isn't connected at the moment. Hmm. That may be why. But anyway, yep, yep. Or Bundy laughing at me right now over that. Such. Yes, it would be like that. I'm pretty sure I've got it here somewhere. I'm apparently having connectivity issues tonight. They're probably going to go through. They're probably doing a system reboot. They do that every so often. So I'm probably in the middle of a system reboot. Probably fixing to lose y'all. So I'm going to make this quick. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for dealing with my esoteric wisdom and all the heavy stuff that I kind of unloaded tonight and talked about. Just usually talk about what I think is needed sometimes when I do the live streams. Do enjoy talking with all y'all. Glad you could be here. You could be anywhere else on the internet. You decided to come here, and I am eternally grateful for that. Also, if you enjoy the channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so you guys can know when the new videos are coming out. And you'll be notified on that and everything else working with it. And if you want to directly help the channel out, there's a membership program. I've got 3 more episodes from A Pirate's Life that I am going to try and have uploaded tomorrow. I've got one of them I'm going to add. It's the last one we did, and it's got me, Bundy, and the guys apparently getting ambushed by more pirates, and me going kind of nuts with a grinder. So I'm there's some jokes I want to put in from other videos on the internet. I want to take some clips from the internet and drop that in there and see how that plays out when it comes out. Just experimenting with things, trying to make it work. But you can actually see all that stuff early for about 99 cents a month. It's less than $1 membership. I paywall access to it. I don't paywall the actual content. So there's no videos on the channel that are paywalled and will be forever paywalled. Eventually they will all come out. Eventually. So if you want to watch everything early, like I said, I think I've got stuff all the way up into the next couple of months. And I've got to start putting some stuff back on here to catch up for the next couple of months. And I've got to get some other things done while I'm at it and get that going. But like I said, you can check that stuff out and see all kinds of cool things that are going on. And I don't know about the next ship I'm going to do. I'm going to try and plan this one out the next one out a little bit more. than what I've currently got. It's going to require a floor plan and maybe 2 decks, I want to say. But it's going to be a battle. We're going to build a pirate battle cruiser that kind of reminisces a little bit of Star Wars and Star Trek in it. There's a couple of key features from other ships that I want to add to it. One of them is this saucer section on the Architens. I would like to build something similar to this and still maintain the or make it a little bit more nicer, I suppose, would be the way I would want to do it. But yeah, like I said, if you want to help out the channel, it's like 99 cents a month, or just do the thing, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and share the video with any of your friends. They would probably like to watch it. But yeah, that's me right now, fixing to go to bed at 1:49 tonight. Hopefully, I can get up at 7:30 and get my kid to school without passing out tomorrow, which is going to be fun. If I can in the morning, I will probably try to play Helldivers. If not, I will probably just go to sleep tomorrow, and probably tomorrow morning I will just add some stuff to that one video. It's just a few clips, just a clip. I think I'm going to add one clip to it and see how that plays out, and then I'll do some other stuff while I'm at it. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for seeing the video, enjoying this, and spending time with me tonight. I really appreciate it. Like I said, y'all could go anywhere else, but you came here, and I am eternally grateful for it. And I am Badger Wild, everybody, saying stay safe, stay frosty, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye for now.